Hell yeah. The title is still correct. I don't need to change anything this time. Let's see. I wish I could share. Corvid, welcome. Got here just in time. Dream cartographer, welcome, welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. A dream map maker. Let's see, who else is here? So far, 2 people who submitted to the jam and have had their games played are here. That's good that you're reviewing last week's VOD, and I mean, it just means I'm just churning out content. I am just the content creator. What's everybody drinking tonight? That's a joke. I'm drinking what's called Glühwein. It's a red wine that you're supposed to apple cider vinegar. So for some dietary purpose, I imagine. I actually have a little cup of apple cider vinegar right here, but that's to catch fruit flies. But yeah, Glühwein is it's a heated wine. It's a hot winter wine. It's very good. It's very common here in the winter months. How's my audio, by the way? Am I loud enough? I don't look like I'm in the correct range for on OBS. Sounds good, like a wine. Yeah, wine hot toddy. Yeah. I am really quiet. Okay, I had a feeling. Yeah, there we go. Sitting closer fixes all things. Although I'm gonna move the microphone because let me mute it real quick. All right, I think we're good now. I think we should be good now. I'm coming in at the almost correct amount. Let me fix something real quick. I can't believe how hard it is to get. My dog is playing with a toy. 2 links. Hey, how hard it is to get microphones to play nice. How about now? No, that's not really changing anything. Let's try. How about Yeah, okay. All right, I think we're good. I think that's a correct audio. That is one correct audio. Resize that so we can get maximum game in the screen. Okay, who else is here? I know Catan said he was not going to make it, which is unfortunate. Because Catan is louder and clearer. Hell yes, I love louder and I love clearer. Actually, that's totally true when it comes to narrative. The louder and clearer it is, the happier I am. Unless it's overly clear, like anime style writing, then I don't like that. That's too clear. That's beyond crystal. I like clear, but not beyond crystal clear. Okay. So I was kind of dilly-dallying because I was hoping that we would get the rest of the people who submitted games into here. Welcome, Abbott Costello. Oh, I think that's supposed to be, I think that's bad form. Sorry. I'm still learning the Twitch thing. You're not really from what I understand, you're not really supposed to call people out unless they've chatted. Is that true? That's like a kind of like a faux pas. I got in trouble for that one time because I was doing this. I used to do this these streams where I would stream myself writing. Like I would just stream my Microsoft Word program, and and I would like I would just write on stream, and then I clicked over into my little people thing. Or the people who were in your chat thing. I was like, oh, hello, X person. And they didn't respond. And I was like, okay. And then after the stream, they messaged me and they're like, just so you know, like, I'm not offended, but just so you know, that's a faux pas in Twitch culture. I was like, oh, didn't know that. Yeah, you can. You can click on that, like if they've joined the chat, but only if they've joined the chat. And I don't really know what all entails joining the chat. I don't know how you join the chat, but yeah, you leave. Depends on the streamer, but you typically leave lurkers alone. Yeah. So sorry. I can see users in chat on desktop. Yeah. Well, could be just logged in view. Yeah. Well, I don't know who all is. If they haven't joined the chat, then I haven't. I haven't seen any of the people who've submitted. So I think we're probably going to start with mine to give everybody some time to kind of filter in. And I think mine is, one of the ones that I don't think it really matters if people see it. Nor do I think anybody really gives a shit. Which is fine. So we'll extract it. And blammo. All right, so the kind of the plan that I had with this was I could just tell you what my plan was with the scene. But first let's make sure. Right. Yeah. Correct. Okay. Just to kind of let people know like what I was thinking when I was writing it, right? And kind of like the means by which I chose to focus on things so as to like bolster the scene. Music by AGS. Hopefully he's here. He did a good job with the music, I think. Although it's sounding like it's too loud. How's that? I think that's good. Okay. So, scene, right? The scene... The reason why I wanted to submit to this jam was because this is too loud for me. It's distracting. Okay, well, I'll turn it back up on y'all's end, and then it's so distracting. Okay. Let's see, desktop audio. How? Okay, I think that's good. Hopefully that'll come in on your end. Maybe not. But the reason why I wanted to submit to this jam was because I wanted to illustrate the kind of the way that I view how a scene works, right? A scene structure. And I also wanted to illustrate that when you write a scene, it will look clunky. It just naturally, it will look clunky, especially if you haven't been writing in this narrative for a long time, right? So like this narrative comes out of, I don't even know, like I don't have anything else. This is the only thing I've written into this world, right? Is this brief little thing where the characters go into a bunker. And so for me, there's kind of a George Lucas-y effect going on where it's like, these are the tools this is the shit I have. So this is what I'm going to, make the movie with. So like I had this set and I had these two characters, these two character models. Why, dog? Every time I stream, it's unbelievable. So I had to make the scene with this. But I think it ultimately ended up working, right? Like we'll end up doing one on objective correlatives later, another jam. I know everybody loves dog. I know you. I know everybody loves Baloo. I do too. But it's amazing how consistent it is that he needs to bark when I'm streaming. This goes back like over a year now, when I first started Neophyte. Does he want chicken? Well, he can't eat chicken anymore. We had to transition him back to dry food. Finally, we had to transition him back because he it's not nutritious enough. So yeah. Anyway, so we'll end up talking about objective correlatives later, but like when you know objective correlatives and you know how they work, you can pretty clearly follow like. And you can pretty clearly track objective correlatives in this scene, right? And I'll point them out as we go. But like the first one is that the scene opens with these two characters going down into a dark, dank ass basement, right? And that should signify to a keen reader that that they're going into themselves, or they're going to a dark place, or like whatever you could ascribe to going into a bunker. You can ascribe that to the emotion of the character, right? And that's ultimately what the function of an objective correlative is. And so that's why I chose to open the scene with that. So scene from Bunker Hoppers, I just made up the name like on the spot. I didn't know. Game by me, music by AGS. I just noticed the posters. Yeah, I mean, I didn't put those there. This was like a little play set. Like I was basically playing with dolls. I was just kind of moving the dolls around and posing them and taking like snapshots of them. So it was Sarah who spotted the trapdoor. She had gone to it, wrenched it open, then tossed a pebble inside. The clinking stone stirred no sound, so she beckoned her father to follow. Right? So Sarah... Oh my god, it's so loud. So she's the leader in this situation, right? Like she's beckoning her father to follow. She's the one who's like doing these things that these like physical actions that. So she's concerned with safety. She's there's a lot of things packed into these couple of lines. Down here, okay, come down with me, right? Cough, followed by a sound effect. It's really funny. So like right. Oh, you can't see my mouse. Right at the top of this ladder, there's the two models. You just can't see them. The emergency lights remained on. In all their time bunker hopping, though, this had become normal. What are you looking for? Damn it. Sarah rummaged through the boxes and piles of abandoned clothes. She searched under bunks and closets. Her father hobbled along beside her, behind her, wiping blood from his palm on his dirty trousers. Right? So, like, Sarah's on a mission, and Garth is also on a mission, but their missions are kind of opposite of each other, right? Does that make sense? So like Garth wants to get there and lay down and go to sleep. Sarah wants to find booze, which is also why I chose to have the shot looking down the ladder, because like she's still going down, right? She's still going down this kind of like dark place, right? Sarah, I've got to sit down. Aha! So now on the lowest floor, Sarah found a pile of old liquor bottles filled with various amounts of liquid. Sarah took... that line's not very good. Sarah took to removing the caps and sniffing each one. Garth watched as she settled on her first bottle with a muted grimace. We should go to bed, Sarah. Sarah's throat surged up and down as the liquor drained from the bottle. That line is a lot better than it used to be. It sucked when I first wrote it. When she pulled the bottle away from her mouth, a pop echoed off the concrete walls. She laughed. Go to bed? I'm not going to bed. I finally have a real drink. Garth paused for a moment, considering his words. So, right, like I clearly positioned like the caution thing right in between them in the background, because I wanted there to be like this reminder that there's this tension and there's this thing going on between them. A lot of this stuff was actually placed pretty intentionally in terms of like the booze bottles, that I put a light on the booze bottle. I wish I could have moved the text so that this whole thing would have been clearer. Like this whole shot would have been clearer. But like the bear is kind of a representation of Garth's longing for Sarah being young. Sarah sitting, even just like their poses. Like I tried to kind of make their poses important too. I remember when you still hid that from me. Oh God, don't tell me you have a problem with my drinking now. My problem is with the drink, not you. Cough. The pair were quiet for a while, listening to the dust fall. The leaky pipes were a steady beat. It's cold in here. It's cold everywhere. Sarah loosened her grip on the bottle. It teetered from side to side, then settled. Another objective correlative, right? So like she's kind of teetering, going one direction or another. Does that make sense? That's what that bottle going like this means. She reached for another, because the bottle didn't fall over, she was able to reach for another one. If the bottle had fallen over, which I actually should have put at the end of the scene as like a callback, that like one of the bottles tips over and she's done drinking, right? That would have been a really good way to tie that objective correlative back to the rest of the scene. But now we've introduced our conflict, right? So like Sarah has, her goal is to get drunk. Her father's goal is to control Sarah, basically. Because on the outset, he wants to go to sleep, but he's worried about her. And she's like, I can take care of myself, right? You plan to drink all of those tonight? Sarah didn't respond. What do you think those mean? To be honest, I was more interested in the bear. What about him? And oh, this isn't the option I'm talking about. Who sat him there like that? His eye is missing. Who sat him there like that? Sarah bleary-eyed the stuffed bear. So Garth is changing the conversation to what he wants to talk about, right? This is another element of him trying to control the situation, right? So she brings up the thing about the hash marks. He changes it to the bear. Even though it's stupid, he's trying everything he can to control the conversation and thereby control Sarah. Tatters. And that's what she thinks of his control, right? This is what Sarah thinks of her father's attempt to control her. He's not so beat up. No, that's what I'm naming him, Tatters. I see. How are you feeling? Getting there. There's not a whole lot of dialogue choice in this, right? Because I felt like it was going to detract from the point that I was trying to make with scene writing. I just worry about you is all. You're also the only person keeping me walking out there. So now he's trying a different tactic, right? His original tactic didn't work. Now he's switching. He's switching to like sympathy. Dad, I'm fine. Hell, you should be more worried about yourself. So now we get a close zoom on the bottle. I think they're dazed. So now Sarah's trying to wrest control back from the situation, right? It's her turn. The hashes? Yeah. And now Garth gets to be morbid and kind of fuck the whole conversation up, right? I think they're dead kids. Jesus, that's a fucked up thing to say. Is this so impossible? No, it's just morbid. As the night winds grew louder, Sarah became progressively more drunk. Garth looked through their supplies, organizing and reorganizing. He frowned. In the rucksack were rations, an old comic book, a broken camera, a fistful of drying herbs, and several empty bottles of tablets. Take everything back out again. Garth lightly shook each bottle of tablets, then dropped them back into the rucksack. Take everything back out again. Garth lightly shook each bottle of tablets. Right, it's just the same line. Forget it. We're out of tablets. Sarah, trying her best to still look sober, considered her father's words. That's impossible. It's true. No, we picked up more back in Colville. I don't know what to tell you, kiddo. He calls her kiddo here. This is very important, right? That was a very deliberately chosen word. He's very, very clearly trying to make her a child again. We're out of tablets. I'm out of tablets. How far are we from the next town? About 10 miles, give or take. Sarah dropped her chin to her chest. Okay, so Sarah has gone from feeling emotionally like, go, 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 this is my chance, I get to drink, to she has her chin against her chest because she's so sad, right? This is the type of thing, everybody thinks that it's so dramatic, but it's not that dramatic when you're actually watching it happen. When you're watching somebody else's fiction take place, these emotional shifts aren't actually as strong as they look like they are. Or no, they don't look as strong as they feel like they are to you, right? That's too damn far. Cough. What do? We stop drinking so we can figure out a new plan, right? So he's right back to his controlling thing. It's not even like he cares about the pills. He's just trying to control her. Why didn't you tell me any of this earlier? I wouldn't have had any had I known you were on the brink. I didn't know either. Bullshit, Dad. Excuse me? I said bullshit. You knew damn well you were out, and this was all because this all comes you from you still not trusting me. You like the subtle details? Cool, I'm glad. I do trust you. No, you don't. Close zoom on the bottle. Right? He says, I do trust you. He's lying. We get a close zoom on the bottle. No, you don't. Right? This is all meant to convey meaning in the scene. Ever since we've been on the road, you've been treating me like a little girl. Yeah, I had an alcohol problem before, but it was only a problem in that world. In this world, days are countable, numbered. It's just that. So now Sarah's taking control, right? She's gone from being losing her control to taking it back. I worry about you. You're my girl. It's damn near a habit at this point. God, you're impossible. I just know what's best for you. Now this is the only option, right? He's out of options. He can't even say anything else, nor can the player. The player only gets to say, I'm trying to control you. All right. I'm going to bed. Right? Now she's the one who went to bed before Garth. Right? So now Garth was the one who was trying to go to bed. She goes to bed before Garth. Yeah, it's a terrible option. It's not good. Climbed to her feet and staggered off to the bunk area. Garth sat silently, lips pursed. Later, Garth was in an abandoned hospital bed. Clearly, deliberately chosen. It was the cleanest in the bunker. Sarah snored in another room. Garth sighed, looking at a tablet bottle nestled in his gloved palm. Poor girl. Garth popped the lid of the bottle and withdrew the tablet, stuck it in his mouth, and tossed his head back. He took the last swig from Sarah's liquor bottle and swallowed both. Right? So now we've got a complete inverse, right? She's gone to bed early. He stayed up drinking. And he says, poor girl, which is still kind of like a control-y thing. But this is probably one of the weaker things. But I was trying not to be too on the nose with it, because what I wanted was for him to feel bad about trying to control her. Right? So in the beginning, he feels justified. Now I want him to feel bad. She is on a mission. She goes to bed early. Right? And that's how I kind of wanted to do this modulation of power, modulation of emotion. Yeah, he was lying. And that's the thing that I didn't want to be too on the nose about, but I think I should have just said, like, I wish I didn't have to lie like that. I figured that hospital bed equals found supplies. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I could see that being a problem. But, the intention here was that he lied. Yeah, sure. The intention was that he was lying, that he did have tablets. Maybe I could have made that clearer. Well, actually, I definitely could have made it clearer. Like I said, clear. And what was the other word? Clear and fast? I can't remember. But yeah, so that was ultimately the kind of the thought. And then we end on a cough. But that was the ultimate thought behind the scene construction. And now that I've played through it with like people watching, it does make sense that the end of the scene is a little weak and clunky. Like, had I had the bottle tip over, I think that would have solidified Sarah's leaving. And had I done a little bit more with the backpack, where like it could have been interesting if he shook one and he felt tablets in it, and then the player could only lie, right? That would be really interesting. I think that would change the whole thing about it. So that would have been that would have been much stronger. It seemed like he found supplies, but I had a feeling that he wasn't going to tell Sarah that he found pills. Yeah, so the lying, okay, well, that's good. Let's see. I thought he was just concerned about her, not so much of a control freak. Well, I mean, I think that he is concerned about her, but he is, but he kind of reveals his kind of weirdness with her, right? Like that he does genuinely believe that he knows what's best for her, and can't, just weird shit like that. Because the intention is to have Sarah be like toward her 30s. But the dog was trying to bite cables. Oh, Baloo, go play with your mom. But yeah, so ultimately, like, that's just normal, right? Like you'll see the faults in your scene. The more you write it, the better you get at kind of quickly collating all of your knowledge of like objective correlatives and scene structure and emotional, like when to turn emotions, when to have a character go from here to here, when to, like the better you get at that kind of thing, the more you'll see like, oh, that was an error. I could improve this scene dramatically if I just add this objective correlative, or I can improve this scene dramatically if I have them do this or this, right? Her 30s, she looks way younger. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I mean, my models are only so good, right? Like maybe in her 20s. Okay, well, I mean, I'm fine with 20s. In my mind, as I was writing the narrative, I was imagining like 29 through 33. Though that may be me thinking about The Last of Us. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so that's mine. Thank you, AGS, for making the music. And hopefully that was relatively beneficial to those who wanted to see somebody who, like me, who genuinely believes that the scene structure is the absolute best way to write fiction. Kind of see somebody break down their own story, right? It might sound a little bit arrogant, but I don't mean it to be arrogant. I genuinely mean it as like, I know why I did the things I did in the places that I did them. And so I feel like it's a good learning tool. I feel like it is. I don't know. But in any case, let's move on to the next one. Let's play Erbium Raider. Huh? What do you guys say? Let's see. Erbium Raider. Extract all. Extract. Okay. Let's go back to downloads. Erbium Raider. Let's go. Indeed. Let's go. It is time. It is time to enter the zany world of one Catan Laubagista, which is actually not his real name, as I've come to learn. Whoa, VR. Why is it... Oh, Catan. Okay, that's insanely loud. 1 second. Still loud. On our end, it's actually decent. I'm sorry, it blows out my eardrums. It blows out my eardrums. And I have it maxed on your guys' side. Like, I don't know how to balance it. I need to, like, hire somebody who knows how to balance audio on Twitch, because I can't do it. Okay. Cicero amat rem publicum. Cicero non amat ruinum. Okay, so Cicero does not like the ruins? Maybe? Antia. Cicero amat rem publicum. Okay, so Postia goes forward. Antia goes backward. Postia. Cur res publica ruina fit? Yeah. Repello hostis qui rem publicum delere volunt. Oh, and the keyboard is backwards again. Because it's French. Invito amicos qui rem publicum defendere volunt. Ineo. Oh, wow. Oh, his models they've gotten much more varied. This one's wearing gray. That's a small little man. I love entering the world of Caton Labragis, let me tell you. It is just fascinating. Repello invito. Oh, I'm being an asshole. Repello is Latin for being an asshole. People are responding to me accordingly. That's sick. Wait, is that Crassus? That's probably a name. I was a dick to Crassus. Invito. R Prema. What? That yellow bar is going down. Can people hear the people talking? Because it's really funny. Oh, did I might have restarted. Varus. Okay, I was mean to him, I think. Hostes Rai Publicae. They disappear. Hostes Rai Publicae. They disappear when I insult them. Hostes Rai Publicae. These games are so esoteric. I can't really hear NPC only when you're super close. Okay. Well, I'll try to turn it up even more. Because now that the music's gone... Shit. Okay. Marcus Cicero. Wait, is that actually Cicero? Like of... Man, drop shadows. We need some drop shadows in here. Well, Cicero, I believe, is a pretty famous politician in ancient Rome. I don't know anything about it, though. I just have heard the name because I used to debate in high school. And there was a tournament that we used to go to called Caesar Cicero. Hortensius. Okay, we're going to explore because I don't know what we're supposed to do. The voice acting was a great touch. I find it's a finicky thing to add to video games, but the payoff is worth it. Yeah, I mean, it's just voice acting for whatever reason just is like an exponentially more complex thing to have. It's crazy. Did I lose? Exio. Exio? Initium eo? Am I supposed to talk to these people? I'm sorry, Caton. I don't know what to do. Nor do I think that this is a scene. I don't. You survived way longer than I did. Oh, it's because you weren't insulting people. Get fucked, Red Toga Man. Oh, are we supposed to? Maybe that's what we're supposed to do. Why does it say reject? Why does it say? Okay, I died. I love Katon so much, dude. I love it. I feel like you're supposed to insult the red people. You're supposed to insult the red people, and you're supposed to be nice to the yellow or green. What I find interesting is that you run out of energy. Maybe you're supposed to understand what they're saying. Okay, so that went down. I don't know. Yeah, I there might be a scene here, but it's in Latin. We might need to just ask Katon, like, because I'm always impressed at like Katon's absolute like hell-bent determination to make like a game world that you can walk around in. Oh, I'm under his toga. Okay, I'm gonna do that. So I think I want to talk to Katon again, and then maybe he could give me like a translated version of the script so that I have some idea of actually how to play the game, because honestly I have no idea how to do it. He uses Unity, and I know he gets a lot of models and uses like Reallusion software for the models, which is super cool. Reallusion is a great software. It's Unreal. I know he uses Unreal. We actually interviewed Katon for on Neophyte Studios. You can go back, and it's like one of the last videos on that channel. But we interview Katon, and it's fun. He's such a nice guy. His name is Etienne. He's such a nice guy. I just don't speak Latin, and I don't understand how to play his games. I mean, his other one I did understand a little bit better in Solarum Raider. That one was a little clearer. That game, I have no idea. I don't get it. Once again, I feel like if I could speak Latin, then it'd be like, oh, this is easy. You just insult the green people, and then you invite the reds to come over with you to the yellows, and everything would be fine. But like, I don't know that. So thank you, Katon, for submitting. But you're unfortunately working with somebody who's not very intelligent. Okay, so who did we have left? We have Sam, and we have Monochrome. Is Mr. C here? Mr. C's not here. Okay, we're going to do Sam's. We might end up saving Mr. C's again. Depends. We'll see. Depends on how long it takes. I know I have it. Oh, yeah. There we go. Archaeon the... Ooh. Whoops. Okay. We have not played... Oh, yeah, Porker. That's right, because it's not on the thing. Oh, yeah, shit. Hello to Tathazam. Hopefully I said that right. Welcome to the stream. Oh, Baloo. I wonder if you can hear his growling. He is a very vocal dog. He likes to go bow, bow. Yeah, we do need to play Porker for sure. It's still on itch though. I have it downloaded, so we should be okay. Bell sound howled a far off bell. It was first light, and the city of Tellini rang to wake up people to start their day. Tellini was always bustling. Oh, there's a music. Um, Tehe. Teha. That's cool. Teha. I probably also pronounced that incorrectly. Oop, this is going to be loud. 1 second. Okay. The sun crept into it via a small room high on the wall, and as golden rays unfolded, a warm and orangey glow ignited into being. You could now see a space that was homely and snug, fitted with a cluttered wooden table, an adorned chest, and a drawing of a kind-eyed elven woman on the wall. It was a little smelly, though, in the way one might expect an old man's room often is. This man was called Acheron, and currently he lay dozing atop an old rickety bed, dutifully accompanied by his familiar Pooch curled beside him. The dog rested its velvety head on the man's squished cheek and snored lightly. Its breath was like little smelly whispers tickling Acheron's neck. It's kind of interesting, this song. Is too loud. Sorry. It's so hard to read out loud. It's insane. And like think at the same time. It's interesting to use like a word that's so colloquial to like English speech, like pooch, in a fantasy world. Not sure how I feel about it. I almost feel like whenever you do something like that, you ought to just say dog. Like it would be weird if, so there's a sauce in Utah called fry sauce, and it's made of mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together. Other people call it mayo chip, but we call it fry sauce. It would be weird if like I was writing a fantasy novel and I was like, yeah, you know, and then they sat down with their fried potatoes and fry sauce. People would be like, what? I don't think it's exactly the same thing. Like I think pooch is a little more forgivable than fry sauce, but it caught my eye. As an old man with an adventurous past often had, he was scored with deep laughing lines carved out years ago. It's good detail. These now yeah, I get you for sure. Noted. Oh, you are Sam. Sorry, I shouldn't have said your name on stream. I'm sorry. Sorry. As an old man with an adventurous past often had, he was scored with deep laughing lines. Yeah, that's a good detail. These now wrinkles almost buried his eyes when he smiled. He was wearing some simply striped clothes, pajamas perhaps, which were completed with some holy white socks, and sported tufty white hair that looked like a cotton bud ready for harvest. So it's like very popped up. He was a normal old man, but oddly he had in his possession something very strange. Underneath his stripy top was a faint glow of azure blue emitted from the... It's interesting that you're double using like double Z, and then I saw another one too. There's like a double Z and then another double letter that it almost looks like it is working to kind of be like a strange spelling of it for the world. Oh, I can't find it now. Azure blue emitted from a rather strange pendant he wore on a chain or interlinking triscles. This item was not always visible to Acheron, or anyone else, but it appeared for a short time on a significant morning. Its magic showed its wearer visions of past memories or alternative paths, sometimes good and sometimes bad, but always revealing. The visions did not last long. Maybe he only had 10 minutes in total, and they were controlled and triggered by what the wearer decided to do within the vision. Right now, as the pendant glowed, Acheron was in the pendant's dream in his old room in a time he found hard to forget. As Acheron lay snuggled, he felt the brushing and tugging of the sun's light on his attention. What should Acheron do? Get up. I'm always a fan of getting up and moving the story. As Acheron, the pendant's light dimmed but a touch. As Acheron shifts his weight and moves off the bed, he looks back and sees the air next to his trusty companion shimmer for a moment before immediately watching the dog apparate away. After watching it go, he sighs and decides his next move. Yeah, I want to know about this elven woman. Glows a little dimmer, but it is still bright. Akron looked up on the wall and gazed at the drawing. Da-dum, da-dum. A knock on his door was swiftly followed by a middle-aged woman entering. "Good morning, dreamer," came a woman's voice. That time already, is it?" The man replied. "Yep." You can just switch to Akron here for text. It's for clarity. Just reply. Once you've named a character, just refer to them as the character, as their name. "Yep, you don't look like you've slept. Are you okay?" "With you, always." Acheron, her voice changes to a whisper. Changed. Changed because we're in past tense. "Remember what we spoke about. You're not to go back to those meetings in the corner inn. Those meetings will get you and perhaps all of us in trouble." "Of course not, I won't. I know it's everything to you, and you have never been okay with the injustices, but it's not our place to make the change. The powers that be are too dangerous to get involved. Stefano is noble, but let him handle it." The woman's voice got louder, and her eyes reached directly to his. "You have a family, remember that." "I said I'm not going, don't worry." She paused for a moment, a wry smile draws across her face. "Staring at that picture of me again. You creep." "Were you?" "Creep," she laughed. A mist formed in his eyes. "You are a vision like no other," he said, comma. "Creep," she repeated. "But I guess I am pretty great." Yeah, something else there. "You're not too bad yourself for a soon-to-be grandpa." Acheron scoffed. "Come here and give me a hug. I'm so proud of you for everything you are and do. Thank you for being a family man. Thank you for not taking part in that." Acheron embraces her, and for a moment it is bliss until she fades like the dog somewhere that's not with him anymore. Oh, Baloo. Always making noises. A book on the bedside table. Okay, so like I get the sense that so whenever a character is waking up at the beginning of a scene, it's there's like two kinds. There's either like a bright sunny fresh new day, let's go, and there's the like day 4 of a bender, like I'm sick to death kind of thing. Like there's not a whole lot of in between. At least in terms of Baloo, for the love of God. There's not a whole lot of in between. Is this what you wanted? For the purposes of a scene structure. So like he's getting up and then he's told the dog vanishes, which I thought was interesting. Like a spirit dog. And then a woman comes and tells him she's proud of him and not to go to the meeting today. And yet, she vanishes as well. So I got the sense that this is like maybe it's his wife. Maybe it's a past, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. His attention moves to a book on his table. He walks over to it and picks it up. It reads, "Encounters with the Fae under Taba." Acheron knew that it told of mythical journeys of a river north of Tellini, where ordinary people were lured to otherworldly lands beneath silvery waters. After spending a short time there, they returned to their world and found that time had passed more than a decade. Holding the book, he could feel that it was a little ajar. So this is not a scene. Like, I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm just saying that this is not a scene. Like, we have so much going on and so little character movement that like I can conclusively say that I'm not seeing a scene here. Does that make sense? Like I'll try to get through to the end, but I feel like what I'm reading is a short story. Like the scene where he gets up with the dog, that's a scene. When he walks over to the door and talks to the woman at the Elven painting, that's a scene, right? Like those are things that they each needed more time. They each needed more time to breathe. And this is a scene as well, going to the bookcase. Right? Or you condense all of these into like a couple of lines each. You know what I mean? Where it's like he gets up and he decides not to cuddle with the dog anymore, and that's all it is. It's like I have to get up. So he gets up, dog vanishes, he walks, looks at the painting, and then a voice rings in his head, "Don't go to that meeting today." And he says, "You're so beautiful," right? And so and then like this vision of this person kind of fades from existence, right? Like doing that is going to get the audience through that stuff much quicker, in case you want your scene to be played out somewhere else, right? Because it looks like that's what you're trying to do. I could be wrong, and I don't, like I said, I don't think this is bad. I actually think there's really good prose in this, but it's I'm not seeing a scene here yet. I'm seeing a bunch of scenes, or things like kind of information that just needs to be condensed. So, but the ending I think will be kind of enlightening. So I'm going to try and get to it as fast as I can. Because I do have other stuff that I got to play tonight. Holding the book, he could feel that it was a little jar, something as he unraveled it. My Akron. You'll never believe it. You were right. Maybe the first time. The journey is fruitful, and they accepted me into the school of song. I'm due to start practicing with Miab the woodlark. Her voice is so beautiful. Do you remember that we have seen her perform a few days after we met, when you convinced me to take off with you on a trip to the coast, and my family lost it, thinking it was too impulsive. Lost it, thinking it was too impulsive and you might kidnap me. I'm glad I went. The journey to Oria was a little spooky too, especially across the Tava. So I love all this stuff. Like the journey to Oria was a little spooky too, especially across the Tava. I love that you don't tell us what that shit is, because I can get it. You know what I mean? Like across the Tava. Okay, Tava's probably a river. The Tava River, got it. The journey to Oria. Okay, it's either a state, a region, or a city. You know, and like I don't need to know that stuff, but that stuff does so much more work for the world that you're building than I think a lot of the other things are. When we were getting the ferry, I remembered the book you have, and I was sure a fae might appear out the mist and steal me away from you forever. It wouldn't be all bad, I suppose. They are apparently very beautiful. That's supposed to be a period. This is called a comma splice. Sorry, I don't mean to be picking on you. It's just that your game has definitely been the most text heavy. So I get to actually notice stuff like this. This is a comma splice. This is where you're conjoining two independent clauses with a comma instead of a period. Anyway, Akron, I wanted to write to... It's grand and useful to hear. Okay, good. Yeah, I really don't mean to... I don't mean to like make you feel bad. Commas are brutal. Commas suck. But the most important thing you got to remember about commas, and this is all you need to look up, is independent clause and dependent clause. Learn what those two things are, and then you'll never fuck up commas again. Anyway, Akron, I wanted to write to tell you I was safe and to thank you. I know me being away for such a length of time will be hard, but as you said, the pain of never finding out if I could would be worse. Hiding from any unnecessary hurt will give solace. I love you for believing in me and pushing me to be me. Yours from your best half, an apple of your eye, Ymir. He puts the letter down. What will he choose to investigate next? A large but locked chest that was highly adorned with similar interweaving metal lacing and red enamel along the edges. A noisy cupboard. This is like the sounds that Baloo makes. Acheron hears hears some muffled noises from his cupboard. As he opens the door, there's a shimmer of the world around him. Maya, be quiet, he says in a muffled tone. There's no room in here, snaps a young dwarven woman from under her breath. Boop, boop. A knock on the door turns both of their faces white. Acheron shuts the cupboard door quietly. Who is it? He shouts. Oh, wait, did you tell me the name? Was the name... Sorry, I probably have been pronouncing it completely wrong. Oh, okay. Acheron is the river in Hades. Gotcha. A knock on the door turns both of their faces white. Acheron shuts the cupboard door quietly. Who is it? He shouts. Boop, boop, boop. Talini guard. Open immediately or we will enter with force. Acheron hastily makes his way and opens the door. Yes, of course. How can I help you? Mr. Acheron, is it? Yes, my name is Tamlin. I am here on investigation for the guard. We have been notified you knew a man named Stefano Atromi. There is a pause. Well, yes, I do, but I heard the news. I never thought he was capable of anything like that, like what is being claimed in the papers. So you knew him. How did you know him? Well, I have met him when out drinking on the occasional night after work. Is that all? Yes, I mean, there may be other places over the years, but we never met other than randomly bumping into each other. All right. You are required to attend Stefano's trial tomorrow at the city chambers. It is not for me to try you, only to report your first statement. Give me your hand. Here it comes. Okay. Why? The guard takes Acheron's hand and turns it, exposing Acheron's open palm. He then takes his dagger and slices, draining blood into a small vial. Acheron screws his face up and winces. With your blood, we can find you wherever you are. Don't try to run, or we will find you and your family. See you tomorrow, Mr. Acheron. With that, the guard closed the door, and air shimmers, and the cupboard is empty. Acheron's vision begins to shimmer. As the pendant turns to a gray stone, the room begins to shimmer. A moment more, whispered a man to himself. The room apparates, and he forms back into a familiar gray prison cell. The pendant then changes from stone to the color of skin, and then starts to merge, melting into an absence. A wrinkly old man sat alone on a bed. He muttered, "There was nothing I didn't know already." Dadum kagum. Rang a church bell somewhere in the distance. There was a knock on the door, and two entered wearing black hoods, showing only their eyes. "Time to go," one said. That was a sick end. That was really cool. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, this is a great story. This is just a good story. So, just expand it. Just expand all that stuff now. Yeah, just turn it into a story now. Turn it into 4 scenes. 4 or 5 scenes, right? Where where you give each of those things, because now I understand that they're very clearly super important, right? Like what happens in those is very, very important. When if I'm not trained to look for it when I start reading somebody's work, I don't see the details like I should, right? So what I would do is just go back, expand all of those, fix the grammar. Fix comma splices. No, I'm just kidding. But go back, expand those, add some of the details that, and maybe try and figure out how to, you have them, but figure out how to use them, the objective correlatives. Just figure out how to make those objective correlatives pop a little bit more. And I think that this would be quite a strong piece. Because the thing that's interesting is that it was a dream all along narrative, but it didn't bother me, which I think is a good thing. Right, because a dream all along narrative is usually not good, because it makes me feel like, well, why the fuck did I waste my time then? You know what I mean? If the story that I just read wasn't true, then But this one gets away with it because I think it's because it's, in a sense, it's almost like it's a revealed frame story where we realize that we're actually in the mind of the protagonist who's thinking back on the day that he was arrested and now he's being led to his death. Right? So we can talk about objective correlatives later, but in the meantime, go and look up YouTube videos, study writing books about how objective correlatives work, and then try and use those more in the 4 or 5 individual scenes. Wasn't it made clear from the beginning that the appendant showed an illusion? No, not to me. To me, it was just I just thought of it as a fancy jewel. Because the thing is when I don't see a character use an object, I don't really understand the object. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to understand what an object is for if I don't see a character physically use it in some way. And I didn't see him use it. It just seemed like he was it was just on him. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm off on that, but for me, it wasn't clear that it was showing an illusion. I got the sense that he was just dreaming. I thought we were in a dream. That's what I thought was happening. There was a sentence about it. Its introduction was vague. I think I do need to be more. Whenever you saw it with mine, right? I thought I was being perfectly clear, but I wasn't being clear enough, not even close. Because people were like, wait, what? I didn't understand. I thought he didn't have pills. And I was like, yeah, I know he was lying because I wasn't clear about it. And it's the most important thing in the scene. And I wasn't fucking clear about it. And I run the goddamn show. So it's totally normal. And the answer to the question, in my opinion, is, should I be clearer about this? The answer is yes. Whatever it is, the answer is yes. Unless you're doing the like anime overlay clear, where it's like, you're going through the door, aren't you? And the character's like walking through the door. That's too clear. But whenever it comes to like a pivotal thing in the scene, because for some reason, like journeyman writers, and I consider myself kind of in this camp too. Like I feel like I'm past the journeyman stage, but I still have journeyman traps in writing where like I feel like if I'm mysterious, people will like my stories more. But it could not be further from the truth. Like if I'm like, oh, it's a puzzle that you have to figure out by paying attention and reading the sentences over and over again, and that's just not true. Like it actively hinders the audience's experience with the work, if that makes sense. Some people got it and some didn't. Yeah, definitely when it's the crux, it needs to be fully understood. Yeah, I agree. So learn independent clauses. Yes, absolutely. And objective correlatives. Yep. But I think like you did a pretty decent job of, I mean, I think you could do, now that you understand like that there's actually 4 scenes in this or 4 or 5 scenes in this, because I didn't go to every object, but there might be 4 or 5 scenes in this, and you understand, and like that those are supposed to be individual scenes in themselves with little miniature emotional arcs in them. I think you could get a lot more out of those ghosts, whatever they are, apparitions, illusions, I don't know, but you could get a lot more out of them now that you know that there's supposed to be emotional weight in all of those, because you were pretty close to getting it. You just kind of, because you thought that the whole thing was a scene when actually you have like 5 scenes. And expand. Yes. That's what I would say. I actually think it's pretty cool. Prose is like, I would say it's better more often than it's not. And yeah, that's what I would say. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, definitely thought it was one scene. It's okay. I mean, scenes for whatever reason, like I'm telling you, I spent 3 years in the MFA with people who considered themselves to be incredibly good writers, who were in like some of the most exclusive fiction writing programs in the country. And in 3 years, they still couldn't do it. They still fucking couldn't write scenes. So like the first time you're attempting to write it, when somebody's told you what a scene is, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like it took me a year to like actually be able to sit down and write a scene that was a scene. I kept writing flash fictions over and over and over again. And it took Pinkney, my professor, just beating me over the head with anger and vitriol and disappointment, going, why the fuck are you still giving me these short stories in 1,000 words? Stop doing it. Give me a scene. I'm like, okay, sir. Sorry, sir. Okay. So, let's see who's here. I got to get going. I actually don't think I'm going to be able to finish this, but I think that's okay because the 2 people who were supposed to just be here today and see it aren't here. So maybe what I'll end up doing is just streaming theirs next week. Or once again, a bonus stream. Because I really want Renzai to be able to see his streamed, because it seems like he's not had a very nice week. Seems like he's had kind of a rough week. But he might still be asleep because he was up until 4:00 in the morning streaming a game to me. Like, I was watching him play, Yume Nikki. It's a cool game. Yume Nikki. Yeah. Renzai played the entire game today and he streamed it to the Discord. It was awesome. It was so fun. I just sat there and watched it while I was applying for jobs. Oh, it was great. I had a blast. Just a little blasty blast. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do, because there's no way I'm going to be able to get through those 2 games or even one of those games in the next 10 minutes, and I do need to go soon. So what I'm thinking is... oh, Baloo.
Come.
Blue is sick of me streaming. He's done. He's just barking because he is sick of this shit. Thanks for the stream. Pets for the dog. Yeah, no worries. I'll do that. So I have not submitted a new jam to itch yet, and I wanted to gauge people's opinions on that. Are people disappointed by this, or are they good with taking a break? Two Links probably not, but I don't even know if Two Links is still here. I wanted to gauge people's opinions on that a little bit. Breaks are good for me because I've got other shit. Okay, cool. Because like, I mean, we did two months in a row, and I feel like I have not been streaming. I've streamed almost nothing but Game Jam games, which is great. I do like it. I do enjoy doing it, but I feel like I'm actually going to run out of like shit. I've got to take a hiatus on jamming personally, though I am just one person and would still enjoy observing the next jam. Okay, cool. Well, it seems like, I think also Rinzai said that he's good. So I think what I might end up doing is just like when people have a new game, maybe take like 1 or 2 months off. You're doing another jam. Okay, cool. So it's actually, I mean, you're almost 25% of the submitters. Or no, you are more. So cool. So what I think I might do is like, I'm sure Two Links is about to finish a game. Cause that dude's just always working on something. So, you know, when he finishes it, maybe I'll just have him send it to me and I'll play it on a stream. And for the next, like, we could either cool it until December or maybe January. That way I can actually dive in and play Bloodborne. Well, not play Bloodborne because it's way too scary, but like find a video of somebody playing Bloodborne and then record and then watch it and then we can talk about it because that's something I really want to do. So, but my dog is done. He's done. He doesn't want me to stream anymore. So I'm going to end the stream now. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to message them, the 2 guys we didn't get to today, and we'll do theirs next week. And that'll be it. So goodbye to everyone. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Bye. Yeah, you're welcome. For the feedback. For the people who are watching this on YouTube. Yep. You're welcome for the encouragement. Bye-bye.